awakening as we enter into this service is our opportunity to commune with the divine that indwells us. The living Spirit Almighty is the truth of who we are. I recognize it in its magnificence as love, as wisdom, as peace, and as a divine harmony and order that defies my human understanding. So let us each prepare our hearts for that message of Spirit this day, knowing that Reverend Bobby has answered the call and has availed herself to the greater knowing of the divine that indwells her. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is, amen.
Happy Sunday, namaste. It's good to see everybody here in present and virtually. My name is Debbie Ann Vokes, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees. I'm here to do some announcement, but first we're going to talk about who we are. So I'm going to ask you to read this along with me, and we'll really explore who we are. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you, which is love, truth, light, and peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we recognize that we are one. Namaste. Okay, now we're going to talk about our mission. I learn practical science of mind tools and practice in a loving, connective, and vibrant community to reveal my power and change my life. And how do we do this? We awaken to a new truth in our lives. We realize how that truth has played out in our lives. We take our new knowledge and transform our lives, and then we repeat this process in our lives in new ways. And our power statements: we are a thriving, dynamic spiritual community. Hashtag we are Namaste, and hashtag this stuff works. Okay, our first announcement is we are going to have a town hall next Sunday, the 25th, directly after service. You can attend in person, or you can watch the town meeting on Zoom. And then next, okay, we are still forming our virtual choir as it is now. It's a regional choir that includes all the Southern California Centers for Spiritual Living. You can feel free to join at any time. Please email Marilee Adler or Julie Bathke for more information. And if you're a member or an active attendee at Namaste, you are welcome and invited to log in to our self-service portal. You can create and then view profiles, check your giving status, view our membership directory so that you can connect with other members, and you can also enroll in classes on that portal. And then finally, start off your weekday with prayer, support and connection every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Our practitioners facilitate this, and it's a wonderful way to start your day. All of these announcements are available on our website, in the newsletter, and on Facebook. Thank you.
I would very much love to play the the Everything New song now, if I may. It's beautiful. Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. And I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. And I am ready for my next thing to do.
As much as you guys
Oh,
can,
I know
before that,
it's
get
gonna
used to
be
it.
everything new.
Because now you got my sound guy, you got cables, and
I'm through
love it.
grieving,
It's right up on it.
I'm through dreaming
Okay?
that the life I had is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that'll never
Yeah,
be
this is our
mine.
first, so everybody's watching.
I think
so.
it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. And I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new.
Thank you, Brenda. That was beautiful. Ah. Oh my goodness, she is so talented, and we are so blessed to have her with us.
That's good.
Yes.
That looks good.
This is the part of our service where we take a sacred pause and go into a little bit of contemplative time. It's another way of saying we set the space and open our hearts even wider now, even wider for that divine spark, that message Spirit has for us today. And I've asked Brenda to continue playing this lovely music for us. So I welcome you. Just slow your thoughts. Gently release whatever is distracting you from being fully conscious in this now moment. It helps to focus on a single action, like your breath. Or perhaps put your attention on an object like a candle flame. We have this innate ability to direct our thoughts and choose wherever we want to place our attention. It's a practice, and it has many, many benefits. So let's practice together in the next few moments, turning within. slowly bring your attention back. Perhaps feel the seat beneath you. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Feel the air brush across your cheeks. And open your eyes whenever you are ready. Thank you so much, Brenda.
Thank you.
That is one of my favorite songs, and it's one that we're very familiar with here at Namaste. To remember who we are and the divinity is the truth of who we are. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Candace Stein, and I've been a licensed practitioner since 2006. The gift of this philosophy, I know, isn't that amazing? 2006. Bobby was laughing at me. That's okay. So the gift of this philosophy, the thing I want to share today is that it's a practice, everybody. It is this beautiful practice of combining the spiritual nature of our truth with this human experience that we're in. And most recently, I had a wonderful conversation with the former Board of Trustee President, Chris Schreiber. And we shared on the Board of Trustees for several years here at Namaste. And we had the opportunity to recount God in action as this community. And that meant God in action through us. She and I marveled at Spirit and all of the board members and the leadership of this community that walked through a transition, a major transition. And when we heard the words at the beginning of service spoken by Debbie Ann about who we are, you know, that was created by the members of this community. You all participated in that. And your support and your faith and your belief in this spiritual community, Chris and I are just bowled over, as well as Ray Bradford and Barbara Russell, who served on the board with us at that time. And so I want to say the value of this philosophy is the practice of it. So wherever you are on your spiritual journey, come to this community and get to practice with everyone. Our new board is amazing. Chris and I and Ray and Barb know that this community has a new set of leaders that are amazing, and to see where Reverend Bobby has led us through the challenges of this past year. I mean, it's been something to see and experience. And I would just like to extend my personal thanks to her for her courage, her valor, her humble humility, and just welcome her. Welcome her with an open heart, as I do, into my life. So thank you, Namaste.
So today I thought I would share an original song of mine that some of you may have heard way before the shutdown happened, and I found with the subject matter and the topic of today that it's somehow more relevant today than it was last time I saw you all. So it's just a story about the unknown and how when times can seem really dark and really difficult to get through, sometimes something beautiful is on the other side of it that we won't understand until it happens. And I wrote about it specifically from the perspective of my parents and my mom's experience. I think the lyrics will do the rest of the work. Thank you. I was born in the winter, but where I'm from, that means means the sun was shining. And my mom was wed to a drinker. She struggled hard as he kept on fighting. Then she went out on her own, and together we crossed the county line. Her head held high, with me in her arms, set out to find ourselves a new life. Oh, you'll never know which way the winds will blow. Can't guess how the currents will bring you home, but they'll bring you home. Ooh, Then she met another man, and this man sure did treat her right. Stood tall, yes, he stood strong, and held us both as his shining lights. Treated me just like a father should. Played with me and taught me about life. Firm as a rock, soft as a feather. A humble man to act as my guide. Oh, you'll never know which way the winds will blow. Can't guess how the currents will bring you home, but they'll bring you home. I was born in the city where all the lights shine oh so bright. Every day is such a journey, flowing through with just a bit of fight. Give me a warm little place, and I'll climb it and find my own way. Give me some truth, and I'll preach it, 'cause I always got something to say.
been a while.
It's been a while.
Brenda was just telling me it's been a while, you know, as a performer, to be able to play live. I mean, I'm emotional today too, but to play live and to hear that sound back about how beautiful your music is, that's what you've probably been missing as an artist.
Absolutely.
Right? And for me, speaking into a camera for a year and not having the energy in the room was a bit of a flat experience. And you just have to imagine while you're performing that people are feeling it. But you got to feel that today.
Thank you. I just think that it's not even about an audience necessarily. It really is like community and people coming together that care about similar things and are trying to be better. And those are all things I'm interested in. So thank you all so much.
Yeah. I think it's so important because when we care so much, we want to know that we're touching people, that we're doing what we came here to do, that the music or the message or whatever it is, that it's felt. And it's so interesting, the year of just knowing that we do make a difference even if we don't know. We just know. We may not hear it, but we know. And I think that that's what sort of the talk is about today, which is the talk I have is Blessings as a Norm. And I'm going to let you sit, if you'd like to sit for a minute and just relax a little bit, Brenda. Her music is so beautiful. I love that she's here. I love that Kong has brought you to us, so thank you so much. Blessings as a Norm is the talk today, and I find that that has probably been the practice of just what I spoke of, which is just knowing, even if you don't see it. You don't necessarily get to have the experience you've had, but you have to know. And that just really hits me a lot in this experience that we're having right now. So let me tell you a little story about one of my favorite things on the planet, which is grocery stores. I know, because they have food. There's food in there and all my favorite things. So grocery stores up until 1916 were pretty much the same. They hadn't changed. You know, as a person who would walk into a grocery store, you'd walk in and you'd place your order and they would self-serve. They would serve you. And that was the only way they knew how to do it. And at the time, there was this one grocery store and a gentleman, and his name was, hold on for a second, can't remember his name for just a moment. Clarence Saunders. Thank you. There he is. Clarence Saunders. The reason this is such an important story is that he was sent by a major grocery store at the time, there was no such thing as major, to go look at how could they improve their efficiency. And so he went off and he looked at this grocery store that supposedly was really efficient, and what he found is when there were long lines, the lines were because the grocery clerks would be sitting there filling orders for them right there. And when there were no lines, it was because no one was there. So Clarence went looking at grocery stores, and what he found is that there was really no one out there that was doing very well. Chris Schreiber, you're probably, as the operations optimizer, I like to call you, you're probably thinking, oh, you may know this story. So Clarence looked and he didn't find any grocery store out there doing anything. So he's on a train and he's on his way home and he's very despondent and he's not very excited about it. And the train stops in the middle. He's in the Midwest, and the train pauses and stops, and he looks off and he sees this pig farm. And like you see these everywhere not necessarily everywhere pig farms, but you see that kind of situation anywhere, that environment. And he looks and he sees this mother pig, you know, with her little piglets, and she has dropped down what the pigs need, and the pigs are self-serving themselves. And he comes up with this brilliant idea that how can we set up an environment in the grocery store in which customers self-serve themselves. And that is when the idea came out. And that is when the first grocery store, Piggly Wiggly, that is how Piggly Wiggly grocery stores were formed. And that is how the name Piggly Wiggly came about with the grocery stores. What's interesting about that, he invented items that you needed to have in a grocery store in order for you to self-serve yourself. Now, they were already coming up with cans and things where you weren't having to deal with bins and stuff, but he had to come up with grocery carts. He had to come up with certain kinds of packaging. And he also came up with the checker in the checkout lane, so that he would have lanes of checkers that would basically ring up the things that you purchased. Now, when that grocery store sent him out to look, he didn't tell them anything of what he found and what he figured out from that pig farm. He went home and he created Piggly Wiggly. And what's really interesting about that is within 6 years, there were 1,200 Piggly Wigglies. It's amazing. Now, what's really interesting about that is you cannot come up with ideas like that if you don't look at the world with a little bit of awe. You can't. Now, you could say that with respect to the fact that I can't solve any problems in my life. I can't do anything if I continue to sit in despair or a situation of poor me. I cannot look at the world in any kind of awe from that place. It is almost impossible. And in that place of despondency, which, Clarence was looking at, he turned and he just noticed something so typical and simple. And what he said about is there was a moment of just having a little bit of awe, and then it clicked. So how many times have you looked at something so simple in the world and figured out a problem that you had and had a solution from something completely unrelated? How many of you have done that? And if anybody doesn't raise their hand, then we need to talk after service, because I know that's not true. And that includes any of you online too. Just, call me. Call me at the center. When we do not look at the world in awe, when we are not seeing possibility in our world, we have a very dense physical energy. You've heard the term dense, meaning I was dense in that moment, or I'm dense. But the truth is that we need to become less dense in the experience that we are having of our world. I remember reading The Prophecy. I don't know if anybody ever heard of that, where there were the 10 principles. And one of the things that I found so interesting about that book is the invitation to actually almost become almost translucent in my world, to reduce the density in which I come into the world, which means I got to let go of baggage, which means I got to start looking at more things as being a blessing in my world. Because if I don't see that things are blessings, then what I'm looking at is that I'm a victim in the world and nothing's happening in my perspective that's really here to serve me and my continued growth. We have to see, interestingly, that everything is a blessing. Yeah. Everything. The things that trouble us, the things that we suffer with, the things that we struggle with, are also blessings. When I think about the last year, I can actually sit and go, this is bad, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And there was a lot that happened that looked really bad in many ways. But I also know, too, that when I sit back, I can look at things that happened that were truly important, that were necessary. Not only that were troubling, but they were necessary for the evolution of our culture, for the evolution of this country, for the evolution of the world. At the same time, if I want to get really, really simple, I can also look at the fact that what was the invitation for me for the last year was to slow the heck down. There's no way this body was meant to go as fast as it was going. Just isn't. It was like prior to this year, although I was really busy trying to keep the community streaming and doing things, I also found that I was in a constant hustle and I found it very, very difficult to come down from that energy. I know that some of you were taking care of parents, and it was hard to come down. But there's an invitation, too, in that as we move into this next place to really look at how dense we are operating in our world so that we can truly see and have a new fresh perspective, so that we can actually see the gift in things that show up much sooner than we've seen them before. As Candace said so beautifully, it's a practice. It's that simple. It's a practice. And the practice is the invitation to move into things without, the problem is that we're dragging so much with us that it takes us longer to get there. So the invitation is to look at some of the baggage that we're carrying around, to look at some of the perspectives that we're carrying around, and to look at them and say, what is it that I get to let go of? And I have to tell you, in the last year, there's been so much loss. And there's something in that too. There's something in that loss that was also important. And I think as a culture and as a people, when we look and we say it shouldn't have happened, or they shouldn't have passed, or this relationship shouldn't have ended, the point of the matter is anytime we're struggling and anytime there's something that we're suffering from, it's our refusal to allow it to move into perfect divine right order, even if it's painful. Even if it's truly painful, we didn't want it to happen, we miss that person there is in that loss. But there's truly something in this experience that we're learning, and I don't know about you, but I feel like we're having to learn much quicker. Much, much quicker. Which means that I need to be able to have the presence, to be present enough in my experience that I can see what's happening not through the old lens of yesterday, but through a new lens, a cleaner lens. Carolyn Mace, actually no, I'm going to go to Roger Teal. I have to let Terry know, give him a little notice here. He says, in disease and disorder experience, something is usually striving to get our attention. There is a higher purpose at hand. Beyond simply changing the condition, whatever it may be, there are treasures to be gained by delving into the meanings and messages within the situation. I'm going to stop for a second because I heard this. You know, things can whisper to us and we can ignore them. They can shout at us and we can ignore them. It can throw a rock at us and we can ignore them. Or it can be a 2x4 and we can't ignore that. At least not in the moment, but we can have the same experience we want again and it will start again. In a whisper, a pebble, a shout, and then a 2x4. It is entirely up to us. We are being called to radical inner questing. Radical inner questing. By agreeing to this larger adventure, it's got to be an adventure or I'm not doing it. What's the freaking point? To just do this stuff over and over and then die? Got to be an adventure for me. By agreeing to this larger adventure, we seal a sacred covenant with Spirit. With love, intelligence that evokes experiences, opportunities, and insights that often lead to profound blessings and healings at depth. There isn't any experience in my life that I look back at today that did not offer a blessing to me, even the ones that were the most painful. While you were all at the park, I was doing a silent retreat. And in that silent retreat, some of the things that came up for me were things that I had sort of said, I can't deal with right now because I'm too busy. And then made the space to deal with it. And when I made the space to deal with it, I can't necessarily tell you it was any one thing that came up, but it was an old wound that said, okay, now we're going to feel this. And it was deeply painful, but I knew in the moment of pain, and it was truly, truly one of the it felt like the pain I felt as a child in the experience of my childhood. And in that experience, which was really wonderful, I got to pick up the phone and call my sister, who was a witness as a child to that experience, and say, this is what I've been feeling, which is what's great about community. And I got to feel through that, because if I don't feel through it, it's just going to stay there. And the gift at the end was a new understanding of my life, a new understanding of who I am as Bobby, a new understanding of who I am as the minister, of who I am in relationship with my spouse, my lovely wife and daughter. And a lot of things came up so that I could let go and then have some conversations in a new way. The goal in this whole thing, by really seeing the blessings in everything that happens, and I actually think Richard Rohr might have it right, the priest that works out of the Center for Action and Contemplation, the Franciscan monk, is this, that there is a purpose to suffering. There is a purpose to these experiences, that because as human beings, it seems the way we have to learn sometimes is by suffering. Because we wouldn't change. We'll just keep doing it. But the question is what if I blessed the things that showed up in my life? What if with something very, very painful showed up, which I was working on this last week, is what if I, here's me, light a candle, honor that, bless it, and then say, show me. Show me. Show me what this is. What would that be like? Instead of, oh no, not again, or I don't want to do this, or this shouldn't be happening. Do you see the difference? What if I stepped back and said, show me? I feel that to my toes when I do that. I feel that from my heart that bursts out. Because the thing is, when I heal things for me, I also heal things for you. When you heal something for me. We're not doing this alone. I'm not walking around in a vehicle that doesn't impact and touch other people. I know when I saw Brenda and your experience, it touched me. It isn't just because I was observing it, because energetically it touched me. To bless things, to actually bless things, all of it, is something we don't do, and we've lost in that ritual of blessing things. And the ritual of blessing allows us to see the gift in it. It allows us to see what the universe, Spirit, God, has given us as an opportunity. There was a university professor. He entered his classroom and he asked his students to prepare for a surprise test. Never a good thing, right? They waited anxiously at their desk for the test to begin. The professor walked around the class and handed out question papers with the test facing downwards. When he handed them all out, he told them to turn the page over and begin. But the only thing that was on the page was a single black dot. And he said, okay, now I want you to write about what you see there. And so the students started to write, a little questioning, a little concerned, bewildered. But they started to write, and then at the end of it, he asked each one of them to read aloud what they had written. And he said, I'm not going to grade you on the test. He said, but I want you to consider this, that every one of you wrote about the dot, but none of you wrote about all the white space around it. Most often, all we see is the black dot. All we see is the event itself, without stepping back and opening our perspective just a little bit wider and seeing what is really here. That's the universal perspective that we can have. What really is happening here that's so much bigger than just the little black dot. That's why the invitation has been sort of shouting at me this last week of really blessing the entire experience, not just the part I'm really comfortable with. Not just the part I'm really comfortable with. So I'm going to ask you to do something. So if you're remote, you get to do this for yourself, and if you're sitting with somebody, you can also do that as well. But for those of you in the room, I'm going to ask you to do something with somebody nearby. Okay? So please make sure that you maintain some kind of distance here as we do this. And you can go ahead and speak as loud as you need to do this. But this is what I want to ask you to do. I want you to think about something you want this year. Think about something you want this year. It could be anything. It could be $100,000. It could be a new car. It could be a new relationship. It could be whatever it is that you want. So I just want you to identify it. Do you have it? You must, because I know every one of you knows what you want. So I want you to turn to the person near you, and I want you to tell them what you want and why. So tell them what you want, one sentence, and tell them why. Okay? Go ahead. If you want. If you really want $1 million, that's fine. Just why do you want $1 million? What do you really want and why? Why? Okay, hold on to that. You too, go ahead. Now, I'm going to interrupt you for those of you online and those of you here. So let me ask, when you said why you wanted it, was it because of something that you're lacking? So for example, and that's great if you didn't. If you wanted $100,000 because you're tired of being short of money, you don't have enough to pay your bills, that's not really a very good intention, because we know in this practice that if that's what I say, which is I want $100,000 because I want to pay my bills, then you're going to keep wanting and you're affirming the very thing that you don't want. Right, practitioners? And practitioners who are in training, you know that. So if you spoke to it from a place of what you don't want, which is you affirmed that which you don't want, it's really important for you to now speak. So for example, if I wanted $100,000, it was so I could travel, so I can have an experience, so something that excites me and feels like I'm blessing it, that really excites me. And I love that, but not just because I want to do the right thing, because when I do the right thing, this is how I feel. So now what I want you to do is turn to the person and say again, with excitement, something that excites you, this is why I want it. So will you do that now? And what are the blessings in this thing that I want? What is the wonderful thing about this? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if our practitioner on platform today or our board of trustee would be willing to share what they want and why? Okay, so you have a mic, right? So can you pull both those mics up? Go ahead, Candace.
I want direction in order to feel that divine spark of purpose.
Ah. And so why do you want it?
To have that divine spark of purpose.
Can you give me something more exciting than that, just real quick? Just what would you feel like?
Oh, on fire. Absolutely like ecstatic every day to fulfill that purpose.
There you go. How about you, Debbie Ann?
I wanted to experience peace.
Mm-hmm.
And that was initially to be free from pain.
Uh-huh.
But then when you reworded the question, I want to run. I want to run. And that brings me peace and freedom.
Excellent.
That's what I want.
Did you see the difference? Do you see the difference between, because man, I can logic something and wrap it so tight it just doesn't go anywhere. One of the things I did is I'm working on a vision board, and everyone in my circle in my life is also doing vision boards, and if you're not yet, you will, okay? And I'm doing a vision board on my health, and I realized that in the past year, my health has been dry and boring, my idea about my health. But I have a goal out there, so I'm gonna do a backpacking trip in August, right? And when I started to think about it, I thought, well, how do I want to feel on that backpacking trip in August? And I started to think, because I have been exercising so poorly, it's awful in the last year. And the year before that and the year before that weren't a whole lot better. And I've usually been in pretty good shape, but not the last few years. And it just felt boring. So I thought, well, what is it I want to feel? I want to be able to hike, and there's an excitement in not being completely exhausted and hurting yourself, right? So I want to be able to walk up that mountain, whatever that mountain is, and to feel exhilarated and excited and charged and feel nature. That's an intention. That's a blessing. And that's what we have to do when there's something in our lives that we want to change. That's where it becomes something that I can feel into and do. Not to replace what I don't want, but to feel into something I do want. So one of the things I shared a year ago, and I'm going to close up now, and then go into prayer, is the Lord's Prayer I rewrote. For those of you who were here, actually it wasn't last year because we weren't here last year in Easter. It was the year before, so it was 2019. And I had rewritten the Lord's Prayer because I wanted a blessing on everything. And I find the Lord's Prayer, slightly altered, to be something that I can resonate with. There it is. Can you guys read this? Okay. Maybe you can't, but hold off, and you might need some glasses. Are you not wearing your glasses? No, I guess not. But, so let's do this. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to ask if you can see it to read it with me. Will you do that? Okay. And for those of you remote, let's do the same. Spirit is the shepherd of my life. All that I need is right here where and as I am. I dwell in Spirit's perfect and complete creation. I am poised and established in Spirit's perfect peace. In the midst of me is the stillness of Spirit. My strength and courage to walk this path is restored by the infinite of my soul. I am pulled by the divine pattern of my life as love for me, as me. I stand in the courage and faith that I live in a flexible universe, that it responds to my thought and acts upon it, and I say yes to my good, for I'm always held in love. I am safe with an armor of truth. You moved on? Yes. Great. I am established and created as love. There is no power over me because God is the only power and the only source. Abundance is mine, my friends, my family, and all I come in contact with. I am an unlimited creation of this mind that is one. I relax and know that today is good, tomorrow is better, and each day I am held in a loving universe. Goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life, and I dwell in this knowing forever. And so it is. Amen. Namaste.
Feel free to sing along if you like. Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm. I know, and it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they say, it'll rain a sunny day. I know, shining down like water. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Yesterday and days before, sun is golden, rain is hard. I know, been that way for all my time, till forever on it goes, through the circle fast and slow. I know that it can't stop. I wonder, I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? We're gonna do that chorus one more time, okay? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day?
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. Oh, beautiful. So it's our giving. This is the time of our service where we do our conscious giving. And so let us just take that gift that we give to Namaste, whether you give auto tithe, or you give electronically, if you give while you're here in service before, let's take that gift and let's take that gift and place it upon our heart. So as I take that gift, I bless it. I bless it. And I hold nothing back in that blessing. Nothing back. Because I give from that place of infinite source, that I am part and connected. And that there is nothing that is withdrawn. There is nothing that isn't just centered right now in that infinite power and presence that is God. So I accept this opportunity to give from that place with no judgment, with only a blessing that comes from being part of this community that we hold and cherish. A community that has thrived over the last year because of that loving care in which so many people offered. And that is where we give today, because that is the purpose of this community, to support each one of us on our journey that is so beautifully, beautifully graced and blessed. So I just call this gift today good and very good, and so it is. So we're going to go into our closing benediction. I love this. I have to look for just a moment because I think I have something new in May, so I'm grateful. So I want everyone, if you're able to, stand. Candace said it earlier. Everything created, everything that was done part of Namaste was done with intention. It was done from such beautifully infinite, strong, loving, graceful bones. So as we do this closing benediction, we do this not just for who we are today, but who we've been and anyone that walks through those doors, and anyone that's new or has been here since the beginning, or whatever your experience of Namaste is. So let us do it from that place. We are Namaste. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is all that we am. I'm doing that again. I accept it. I am it. I share it with all, just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. And so it is. So let's welcome back Brenda Carsey. Thank you, Brenda, for joining us today. And let's close this surface up and stay standing if you would. So, namaste. I just want you to have a great week, and I want you to just take a moment for those of you that are in the space. If it's your first time in the space, I just want you to look around. I want you to look around because there was a vision that was done over a year, just about a year ago. And the elements in that vision are in this room. But we have to pay attention to know that we've been blessed. We have to pay attention to know that we've been blessed. So do that today before you leave. Let's bless this space because the community we share it with are amazing. So we get to share who we are with them and they with us. So have a beautiful week. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Brenda. And Candace, Debbie Ann, and Terry. And our welcome team, thank you very much. Have a great week.